The Mike McCarthy hire shocked me a little bit.
I think it shocked a lot of people, even though he was the right hire. Oh my gosh. I have an aneurysm as I say that, because they needed to bring somebody in
disciplinarian.
to win right away.
And someone who will put a bit of the fear of God and respect into these
Yes.
players that Jason Garrett didn't have.
No, he
Jason-
had a great relationship with the players.
Yeah,
No doubt.
they loved him, but they didn't fear him.
Right.
They weren't scared of him. And the other side is, and a lot of people didn't talk about this, but even when he left the Packers, he had like a 62% winning percentage for his career.
Basically the same winning percentage as Jason Garrett. So is he better than Jason Garrett?
Super Bowl playoffs, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Or is that Aaron Rodgers? I
don't know. See,
question of the century.
But that's a loaded question, because when you get Aaron Rodgers, you don't only get the really good player. You get the guy who doesn't listen. You get the guy who talks back. You get the guy who plays what he wants. He makes his own play calls. He'll look at, they said the last year before Garrett came in that Garrett would McCarthy would make a call.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers would go, F that. I'm going to call what I want and just call something completely different. Or even worse, he said he would purposely hike the ball, turn, and just throw it out of bounds. Like, not even attempt to do the play, just to basically go, Mike McCarthy, get in your place. I run this team. And that is the problem you ran in with Aaron Rodgers.
Is he going to have that same problem with the quarterback that the Cowboys decided they were not going to sign to a free agency contract?
But see, the problem is they.
What are they doing?
But Dak's agent is an idiot. He's an idiot.
Almost. At the time, that was a huge contract.
But I don't see.
It was more than Rodgers was getting paid. It was more than Brady was getting paid. It was more than anybody.
He got
Stafford was
$25 million
getting paid
a year. Yes, but
now that number looks brilliant compared to what they're signing quarterbacks to. Compared to what he's done in the past, and compared to some guys that are getting paid less than him.
I think it should be a general rule. Here's my fix for the whole thing, okay? I think you cap it at 40, period. I mean, you don't have to.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, I know that. But as organizations right now, you try to cap it at 40. But I think that the average amount of touchdowns that a quarterback throws in the previous contract is what he should get paid. I mean, think about it. So $22.5 million for Dak Prescott because you only threw 22.5 touchdowns over your five-year contract. Guess what? That's what you're worth. I'm not going to pay you $36 million when I have to pay 1.6 or $7 million per touchdown that you throw.
I agree. But do you go out and talk about signing these other contracts with these other players, Amari Cooper, McCoy, etc., when in your linebacking core, when Dak, the quarterback, the most important position on the field for an NFL team, is out there waiting to get his contract?
You do when people talk about your quarterback and his most important talents, they say he's a good leader.
Yeah.
They're not saying he's a great touchdown thrower. Man, he can switch. He's super accurate. He can get those balls into windows, man. He's a touchdown machine. When they say, man, he's a good locker room presence. He's a good leader. You got a good leader there. That just is someone trying to make a positive out of an okay quarterback.
So we've got all these free agent quarterbacks. Is there one you would take over Dak right now? Do you take Cam Newton? Do you take Jameis Winston?
You mean of the current guys now, or when free agent started?
Started.
I would have taken Tom Brady easily over Dak Prescott.
Interesting.
Because he at least could throw 30 touchdowns.
Yeah, and maybe under Mike McCarthy, that works well.
But the problem you have is Dak has had every opportunity to throw as many. He took the team
best offensive line,
one of the
best running backs,
a decent receiving core. Yeah. Up until this last year, he had a good receiving core, and his production only went up 3 or 4 touchdowns.
True.
They got rid of all the bad players.
Do you think that his rookie year almost in a way
set a bad tone
in the sense of it was Wow.
But it was
this third round pick can do this?
It set the tone sort of like Baker Mayfield throwing 27 touchdowns in 13 games.
Yeah, and then coming back in his next year and really having a disastrous
23
season.
and 21.
Yeah.
But the problem that Dak had, I use that as an example of a hype. He set an unrealistic hype.
Yeah.
The problem that Baker had is totally different than the one that Dak had.
Right. Number one.
Baker had a horrible offensive line, 2 tackles that couldn't save their life. They couldn't if they had to save their family, they couldn't block anybody.
They had their best offensive lineman retire, I think, after his first year. Joe Thomas.
Joe Thomas left before he even got drafted. It was a year before.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay.
So and then they let the coach they should have brought in go. What's his name? The guy that Bounty Bowl or Bounty Gate.
The one that went to
Greg
Williams.
Greg Williams did a really good job as the interim head coach. Kitchens did a decent job at offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Kitchen was not ready. He was not ready. He put in a horrible team. They completely tried to mold Baker Mayfield and his skill sets into what the wide receivers they brought in, which were long sets. They had long waiting times to get the ball out, timing routes that were way downfield when he has no offensive line blocking for him, and he's someone who drops back far anyway.
So getting back to the Cowboys.
But what I'm saying is,
what do you do with Dak then?
But even with all that, he threw almost as many touchdowns as Dak Prescott in his second year.
Yeah.
He threw 22 or 23.
Well, he was the number 1 pick in the draft too.
Okay.
A little bit different.
On a shitty team.
It doesn't. What I'm saying is, who do you put in Dak's place? Who do you sign?
I already
to a big
said
contract?
Tom Brady, but if we're gonna do the ones that are currently Cam Newton.
You would put Cam Newton in.
I would right now,
even with the injuries.
Out of the ones that are available, yes, because at least Cam Newton doesn't throw 20 plus interceptions.
Okay. All right.
Even though I do think that Mike McCarthy could put the fear of God a little bit into Jameis Winston.